I got my new thing imported. I got the Christian Dior. They wanna look at the foreign. They couldn't even afford it. Look what I did with the bag. Look what I did with the bag. I got the thing in the back, and I ain't taking no chat. I got my new thing imported. I got the Christian Dior. They wanna look at the foreign. They couldn't even afford.
Follow us on Instagram at Express Truth Show.
Unfiltered people, we're back up in the building. Express Truth Show, making Thursdays great again. And before we do anything else today, people, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. Very, very important, man. Very important. We're dealing with algorithm business. Patreon crew, big up yourself every single time. People, if you are not already, head over and subscribe to the Clips channel. Express Truth Clips. It's important to remember, you know, for those of you who don't seem to know this, the Clips channel is based on clips only. So if you see something on there, it's not a complete piece of content. It's a clip. That's very important to remember, man. Before we do anything else today, let me bring in my co-host, Stephen Brown. Stephen, what are you saying, man?
Summertime. Oh no, a winter now, innit? Yo, the place coming like Jack Frost. Just take a deep breath and exhale. Mighty God. You say, man? Making Thursdays great again, never late again. It's the greatest show on earth, man. Your favorite podcast. Changing the world one Thursday at a time. All that gas and jazz, man. What you saying, Kate, man? Talk to me nice, G.
In the building, man. Cannot complain. We have the back of about 3 to 4 legendary episodes. It just don't stop, Stephen. It just on and on and on. Week after week.
Around the corner as well.
Round the corner, man. It's the countdown.
Yo, people, them the plug there, you know. What you need, I got it, man.
That's a fact. Follow the Instagram as well, folks. At Express Truth Show.
Whatever you need, I got it. But don't ever try message, man, asking questions. Yo, where you there? Yo. Suck your mother. Ask me no questions, huh?
Facts, man. So what you saying, Stephen? Just before we get into this, man, what's going on?
Hold on, fam. A little hot, you know, fam. Bad mind pussies, you know, fam. You ask everyone where them get them water, you just blood clot drink it, pussy. We ask a dog.
Nah, it's a fact. Now, you know what it is, though? I think, sometimes when man see you moving a certain way, they want to find out, like, what's going on? Have you got the cheat code? And sometimes get ahead of themselves. I've noticed that, man.
But you know the unfortunate slice of life, Cake? This isn't the 90s, mate. You know, back a day you could go a shop and you could buy a game manual and you're like, yo, here's the code for GTA, Vice City. Them days are over, boy.
Yeah, man, no one gives out the cheat code.
No cheat code now, sell.
A recent decision by the Met Police to promote an officer who was involved in the shooting of Chris Kaba has sparked public outrage. The officer's promotion, despite the serious nature of the incident, has raised questions about accountability of the police force. Public backlash has emerged, with many questioning the standards upheld by the Met. This has been covered by multiple news outlets, including BBC and The Telegraph.
Let me ask you a question, people. Him not do him job? What is the police's job? Is it not to serve and protect? Is it not to rid us of the pestilences in the community? My man, him did a good you or am a gunman? Which one? Remind me, Mark. Am I good you or am a gunman? Was he in the choir or was he in the club shooting people? I can't remember, Mark. Remind me, Mark.
Well, he definitely had fallen.
No, kid. No, man.
Well, you want me to come straight?
Squeaky clean, you know. Talk it raw, Bridget.
Okay, yeah, he was on road.
Okay.
He's on road.
No disrespect to nobody, but I'm not going to hold your hand around the fire and sing Kumbaya. I'm not come on a bomber clock candlelight visual with you. No. Yeah? There's obviously this tree has many branches. And I know we're going to get into it because there's many questions to ask, Mark. Was the promotion due to his actions with Chris Kaba that night, with all the public backlash? Or maybe he had some PTSD that we don't know about from the night? Because maybe that was his first time actually shooting someone in the line of duty. There's many questions to be asked, Mark. When you pull that thread, everything's going to unravel, man. But what you say, man?
I hear what you're saying, most definitely. And of course, we went over this in a few shows ago actually, and we broke it down. But what it is, first of all, I'm not shocked that the officer has been promoted, because you actually said this, Stephen. You're not actually giving yourself credit. You need to go back and listen.
Yeah.
I was going to try and do it today, but I didn't do it. But you actually said back on one of those episodes, you said, let me get it right. You said they'll probably give him a promotion.
Facts.
And there's, like you said, there's many branches to this, because why would we think that they'd give him a promotion if he has murdered a member of the public? And the reason for that, Stephen, is because I believe that from day one, the police knew how this thing would go. They knew that at the time they couldn't really release certain information legally, and also based on the nature of the incident. But they knew that the day would come that it would cloud public opinion. And that's exactly what it did. So that police, you got to think about it. He got suspended. He may have been told, look, nothing's going to happen, or he may not have known. We don't know. Or they may have said, yo, you might go for a storm. We said this on the episode a few weeks ago. You might go for a storm, but on the other end of it, there's going to be a rainbow. And that's what I believe happened. Where they've said, yo, you've had to take you've took backlash for this, and you were at work. So now we're going to make sure you're good moving forward. I'm not shocked at all. I'm not surprised whatsoever. Like, we knew that once it was confirmed that Chris was on road, that the public's opinion would have been swayed. No matter what side of the fence that you're on, we knew the public would have found out that information and been like, damn, can I really stand behind that? And that's exactly what happened. If you got a crowd of 10 people, 7 started to change their mind. Like, hold on a second. Oh, that's what he was on, A, B, or C. So you got to think the police have probably just said, yo, don't worry about it. We're going to make up for, what you went through. And that's it. And this is why it's important to remember, though, Stephen, like, I don't understand where this type of thinking has came from, but it's important to remember that you're playing on a chessboard that doesn't belong to you. You're a guest. Like, a lot of men keep believing that they're going to get a fair shake. You're not going to. Like, Stephen said it many a times, and it couldn't be fair. This is just the facts. Like, puss and dog do not have the same luck.
Oh.
Like, a lot of people keep thinking that things are going to be a level playing field and all. It's not going to be that.
Maybe
so if you put yourself in a certain predicament, just know that, innit? And as long as you know that, you'll be good.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'll be real. Do I believe he deserved the promotion? You could say yeah, because on paper, take all emotion and feeling out of it, Mark. When you get to the grassroots of the conversation and the grassroots of the grassroots of the analysis of the whole situation, he did his job. Now, whether you want to argue, he didn't have to shoot him, blah, 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 blah. We don't know what the training's like. Those are armed police. Like, I feel like they would have more rights to shoot if they feel threatened or not. And then, I know everyone was saying, I don't really want to go over the case too much, but we're going to have to a little bit. So I'll just say this. I know a lot of people were saying like, they didn't know he was in the car, but whether that's true or not, apparently that car was used in shootings or gang activity previously. Then they've jumped out on you, you failed to comply, you're trying to ram cars and all of this. And then if you're doing that and then they've ID'd you, they've recognized and said, that's Kaba, blah, blah, blah. He's known for XYZ, proceed with caution, known firearm carrier and user. Listen, I'm getting out of the car and laying on the ground, man. I'm not trying to catch a bullet, Mark. I'd rather do the time. So there's many factors that went on that night. Like, if you gotta be honest, like, all sides need to be held accountable, Chris included, man, because it could have been handled differently on both sides of the fence.
Definitely, it's one of those situations where every action has a reaction. And this is what I'm saying. Like, we got to get to a place, Stephen, where we're comfortable in communicating reality to each other. Like, I get it. A lot of people are upset. I get it. A lot of people feel that it's completely unfair how this has gone down. But we have to explain to all guys who want to play life and do it that way. Whereas they want to be on road, you want to do all of these, be involved in crime, be involved in gangs. We have to take it back to the old school of having an understanding that ends one of two ways: in death or in prison. That has to be made crystal clear. No matter how this comes about, that has to be made crystal clear. As long as you understand that, you'll be good moving forward. But the officer involved in it, we always knew that it could have went this way, and that's the way it went. Based on facts, we have to look at the facts, and based on the facts, the argument became weak after the facts were released. There's no way they could really punish that officer. Like you said, Stephen, what has he actually... We're not talking... This is not us giving our personal opinion now, Let's look in a court of law. In a court of law, after that case has now been dismissed, what reason have they got not to promote the officer? That's a better question to ask. For the folks who are angry, that's a better question to ask. What reason have they now got not to promote the officer? You see what I mean? The officer must have went through... I'm not saying that he went through any difficulty or anything like that, because he may have known. But they would have told him, yo, don't worry. On the other side of this, we'll make sure you're good. And that's exactly what's happened, isn't it?
It's very true.
They was never going to bury him. Never. For what? Bury him for what? It wouldn't have made sense.
At all.
So this is the situation, man. You got to look at it like this. Like, take all emotion out of it and just look at it like, if you give them an excuse, they will take it. Simple as that. So from your on road and you've got a certain name and they've been advised to approach with caution, you're already in problems from that point, man.
Mark, it's true. People are still going to comment and they're still going to get upset and try and message and be like, nah, it shouldn't have got promoted and all of that. But that's why this show exists, man. We're able to objectively look at things and take emotion out of it, man, and use common sense. Like, people are overly emotional, man. Like, a lot of people aren't emotionally mature in life, meaning like you get drawn out easily, you get over-invested in things easily. Like, everything's a trigger for you. Everything sets you off. You feel like you're owed something. You feel like the whole world's against you. Our community is very guilty of this. And, of course, to a large degree, it's true. But you can't walk around with this burden on your shoulders. And a lot of the time, you put it there yourselves. Something don't go your way. It's the system. Something don't go your way. Oh, everyone's racist. Something don't go your way. Come on, man. Like, and a lot of the time that can be true, but most of the time these people complaining about these things, they don't put themselves in any kind of position to even face this backlash. You're just lying in bed, eating kebab, looking at the walls, watching DVDs from 25 years ago talking about woe is me. Babylon's keeping me down.
Just bear excuse after excuse after excuse. Now, we have to look at situations, and use them to learn from them. Now, with that situation, instead of us making excuses for those who fall sick with the sickness of gangs, the sickness of road, instead of us looking for excuses, let's look at ways to prevent the next generation. So I feel like that Chris Kaba case is an opportunity for people to give the factual reality of the situation. That's the best time to be able to discuss these things. That situation was a complete missed opportunity to teach the thugs or gangsters or criminals or whatever you want to label these men of tomorrow an opportunity to opt out of that lifestyle, Stephen. Because I'm going to give you another old school statement, old school saying, prevention's better than cure.
Oh,
Now, that case, you know, if that's my brother or my cousin or somebody or no matter who, and I'm the spokesperson for that case, I'm saying, look, you know, this started out as an individual who lived his life the right way, but somewhere along the line, his life, you know, went off track. And this is the path it led him down, and it ultimately led him to where he is today. So for those of you out there who believe that this life is an option, please look at how it ended up for my dear family member or my dear friend, and it's going to most likely end up for you the same way. That was an opportunity right there to talk to the youth. But instead, Stephen, we've got a problem with a lot of people don't like this, but I'll say it, man. A lot of the youth workers, they're so busy looking for opportunities to take photos at events, opportunities to be known by rappers, or opportunities to be praised. They ain't actually trying to encourage change. They're too busy looking to attack those who are vocal about this type of thing that they do. You see what I mean? They're too busy focused on that. Whereas if they were focused on the actual issue, instead of finding excuses for these young men, we may have a different, you know, situation right now.
But Mark, why do we feel that happens though? Do we feel like they genuinely believe it, or do they feel like they take the nonsense route of argument for engagement and clicks, or you feel to them just an idiot?
I think it's a little bit of everything, you know. I think there's the different answer for all of them. Okay. A lot of them, they need engagement. So what they do is they push these excuses. You know, we all know the famous excuse: no dad, no opportunities, no youth clubs. You know, we always hear these different reasons, which are nonsense. None of these reasons are the reasons as to why these guys are out there doing what they do. Like, the real conversations are not being had in these spaces. And that's why the conversation sounds exactly the same today as it did 20 years ago. Because there's always excuses. Now, it's easy to make an excuse for an individual. That's very easy. But all you have to do is look at other communities. You know, I'm not saying all, and I'm not going to actually give any examples, but there are many other communities where there is no excuse for this type of behavior. None at all. And that's why when things go bad, man's just charge it to the game. Yeah. That's the game he was playing. You know, he ended up losing. That's it. Just like an F1 driver, he straps into his car and he's taking part in a dangerous sport, but he understands that this is what I've signed up for. And if things go wrong, I could die here. Do you know what I mean? And that's the same as road. Like, a lot of men need to understand, if you're going to be on road with firearms and selling drugs or whatever the case may be, do what you want to do. Do what you think the purpose of your life is. But that comes with an understanding. You got to understand that it may end up in a bad way, you know, and that could come by the hands of police. See what I mean? Because if the guys that you're looking for find you, there's going to be no rules. So when the police find you, there's sometimes that there may be a loophole that you give them the opportunity to take a shot. See what I'm saying? There may be that loophole. We're at a point now, Stephen, where the UK are very vocal about jails being overpopulated. We're at a point now where the UK are very vocal about having to release criminals back into the public. So one thing that we are forgetting about this conversation is this. We hear it directly from the system. We don't know what the police's thoughts are on this. They could be rolling and saying, yo, we're locking these men up for you to put them back on road. Let's start sending some of them to the grave. I'm not saying this is what it is, but there are many conversations we can have around this.
Sorry to cut you, Kate. It's not impossible. It's not impossible because just look, that was one of the PM's policies, and he's crying about it. Like, he's screwing about the release of them because you've got enough of them mocking it, because we were led to believe, and we as in the public, that it was going to be probably first-time offenders with minor crimes, non-violent offenders, stuff like that. What I'm hearing is drillers, man who kidnap man for a rack and all of this, like man who were terrorizing the ends, guys who you could put in similar groups to a Chris Kaba. And he's upset because they're mocking it, because they're coming out, they're getting picked up in, the Rolls Royces and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Them rent everything, like them do champagne and all that. What man are doing videos and saying, yeah man, big up Kia Star, man. And you're upset. Rude boy, it's your policy, like I don't get it.
Wow. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
This place is backwards as it is, if you ask me.
No, most definitely. And this is what I'm saying, like, it's about time that we start to bring back some of the old school methods. Like, one thing was for certain when I was a child, that you were going to be told the reality. Like, it doesn't matter what you like, Stephen. The reality was going to be told to you, whether you liked it or not. Someone was going to tell you what you didn't want to hear. They were going to tell you that uncomfortable truth. A lot of people don't seem to have an understanding of that. There's two ways you can take an uncomfortable truth, One child can hear you've put weight on, and that can make them feel small. It can make them feel bad about themselves.
Make them pass Tesco and buy more Maryland cookies.
Exactly, and it can make them continue to gain weight. There's another child, you can tell them they've put on weight, and it hurts them, and they then put a plan in motion to lose weight. One person uses it as motivation, it hurts another person. That's the same as anything else, people.
Yeah, it's facts. One man needed to hear it. It's another man's. To another man, it shatters his whole world. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's the same as the road. If you got a little cousin, a little brother, a big cousin, a big brother, a friend, whoever, I'm not saying that you're going to be a preacher, man, but certain times a man might need to hear, like, yo, if you keep doing that, you're going to lose everything. That might be all he needs to hear. It might fall on deaf ears to some, but to a next man, he might hear it and understand, yo, I need to slow down. Because what you're going to remember is this: you're not going to get, the system was never going to turn on that guy. Never. Once you're known to them for violent crimes, they're not turning on their own officer, because if nothing else, he's on the right team, innit?
Yeah, of course.
You can't be saying, like, I don't like the rules of the game, but certain times the game's unfair, folks. And when you're playing that type of game, more often than not, it's going to be an unfair game. And that's all I can say to her, man. People don't want to hear it, but the facts are the facts, Stephen. The spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories online continues to be a pressing issue. Studies show that repeated exposure to false or misleading information, especially through social media platforms, can reinforce existing beliefs and create echo chambers where opposing viewpoints are ignored. This growing problem has been discussed widely, including in research covered by outlets like the BBC, which highlights the role of digital platforms in amplifying false content and its influence on public opinion. The reason we're in a place now where people are having to turn to online sources of information and actually trusting these sources more so than the mainstream media is because for decades, the mainstream media have played. They've played a game. They've played a game that is, if it doesn't suit their narrative, they don't report it. Or if it doesn't suit their narrative, they misreport it. Now, with the introduction of social media and things of that nature, it's made it easy for people to get their information. So now people are like, well, I trust that person more than I trust that person, who's on like a mainstream platform, because that person who's online has more integrity. That person who's online is more likely, is a real person. They're not employed. A lot of them, should I say, are not employed, and that's why we're in this situation we're in today, where there's bare misinformation, man. You only have to look through COVID.
Young Philly, yeah? You had the Young Philly situation going on, and you started to have loads of like Snapchat and TikTok stories. Yeah, the girls are prozzy and that, because, the friend told me, you had all of that going on.
Yeah.
So do you mean stuff like that you'll get charged for now?
Exactly. Why they're trying to clamp down on it. So that they're about to introduce some sort of heavyweight punishment for that stuff.
Yeah, rightly so, man. Rightly so, because I'm fed up with it, man. Because sometimes, like, look at the world we live in now. It's wild enough as it is. The craziest things go on, Mark. I always say it to you on and off air. Like, I'm never surprised by anything anymore. You send me some of the crazy. Sometimes we don't even talk about them on the show. You send me some of the maddest things sometimes, and I'm just like, yo, crazy. I'm like, just add it to the pile, G. That's another thing that I never thought I'd see that I'm seeing. Like that, nothing don't surprise man anymore. And then when you have these idiots, because that's what we said on the previous topic, people just want that engagement no matter what. So people just want to be first. Denzel said it the best, man, when it comes to news. Like, people don't care anymore whether it's true, with who it hurts. Everyone just wants to be first. I just want to report something. Yeah, I got the exclusive. You totally pulled it out of your ass. You've totally pulled it out of the sky. But you just want to be the first. You want to get the clicks. You want to get the likes. You want to get the thumbs up. You want to get the engagement. You want to try and go viral. That's all it boils down to nowadays.
That's the issue.
I want to go viral no matter what.
I remember a few years ago, I think it was around the time just before the Queen died, there was one blog in the States, and he reported that the Queen died, like, this is like months before she actually passed even. Okay. And the amount of other public platforms, actually mainstream, started reporting it off the back of this, brother. And I remember just thinking, like, no one fact checked this. There was no fact checking. There was no official statement made. There was nothing. It was just a man who tweeted this out. And based off of that tweet, people ran with it. And I remember that's when I realized then, like, there's going to be major issues in the future. I see that Twitter are trying to sort it out by doing they got a thing called, basically, let's say you put up a tweet and what you're saying is like rubbish. There'll be like an official thing underneath it that will say, this is not true. And then it will give you an example of why it's not true. It'll give you proof of why it's not true, sorry. And that's what social media need to start doing, especially on TikTok. TikTok is literally a platform where anyone can just throw their camera on and say anything. And you only have to look with misinformation. The Diddy case, that case there has shown you how damaging public misinformation can be, meaning that when you really look at the severity of what he was being charged for, when you look through a lens of currently, people don't seem to be that shocked anymore. And part of the reason for that is because it was almost like blogs were trying to outdo themselves. Like, yo, my man's guilty for this. Yo, my man's guilty for that. Yo, my man's guilty for this.
It was laced with ketamine and anything you can think of, man.
Exactly. And then what happens is it turns people away, because let's say someone's watching the case now and they'll be like, oh, that wasn't true. I don't know what to believe. I just won't watch none of it anymore. That's what happens. Do you know what I mean? So this is what I'm saying. Like, misinformation is an issue going forward unless these social sites and everybody else clamp down on it.
Yeah, unless they're held accountable.
Simple. Because remember, you can upload anything. You can't upload anything. Let's say we put a backing track over this right now, like a Beyonce backing track. Stephen, immediately it's taken down. Like, there's not even a 5 minutes it would stay up. The second they realize, yo, it's copyrighted music, it's coming down. Whereas you can put out any kind of rhetoric or make something up, spread misinformation, and they allow certain things to spread. Let that sink in. Certain things can spread online. Like, you can put certain things up that will spread and they won't stop it. But then there's other things that as it goes, it won't even, matter of fact, it won't even upload. Before it even uploads,
they
it's
catch
taken
it
down.
before you're trying to upload it.
There you go. So you just got to think like this is a major, major, major issue moving forward. I've seen a bag of things, man, a bag of misinformation online. And this is all from grassroots right up to serious, serious issues. That's why I always say, like, and I know you do it too now, you'll always look at like the source. Where did it come from? Is it came from a reputable source? Because one thing the mainstream still have is that.
Like you said, I always do. I do it with you because you'll send me stuff and I'll be like, I said, gee, where did this come from, man? Especially if it's something crazy.
Yeah, facts. You got it. That's the first thing I look at now. Because remember, any man can have a website now and just write a story.
Facts.
And then just backlink it and get it into the algorithm. So this is an issue, man. This is a big time issue. So I get it. I get why they're trying to clamp down on it. But I don't know how they will stamp it out, though. I don't know how they'll stamp it out.
Man, they will, G. Once they fine tune this AI business, you'll press a button and it'll be handled, man. Trust me.
How long you reckon until the AI is live, like, though? Because it's not far right now. There's some videos I've had to look twice still.
None of it's fake, man, because you know, like, you can make the videos and, like, I think 5 to 15, because none of the videos, like, the fully AI, like, I'm talking, like, the crazy ones, none of them look awful still. But China's probably cooking up a madness, though.
Yeah, it's definitely going to get crazy.
So I'd say 5 to 15, man.
You reckon 5 to 15 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they'll get it right. Because now, I noticed now that I'll be double looking because there was a video I seen. It was like an owl. This woman had like an owl.
She was holding like a giant owl.
Yeah, that one, you have to look twice at that one. But once
even with that much, you can notice because there'll be stuff in the background and then the things don't look right. That's what I mean. They haven't got it 100% yet, man.
Yeah, they're trying to polish it up. But like with that video, I looked twice. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, first I looked and said, that ain't a real animal. Then I looked again, but now you're starting to question yourself. You got to think, this is still very young. We're not 3 years in yet with this AI yet.
Nah.
We're not 3 years in.
Man. Infancy.
Yeah, man. It's real infancy. That's it, people. It's the Express Truth Show. Making Thursdays great again.
Gang.
Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Hit that subscribe button, people. We out of here, man. Now, 15 years ago in Birmingham, people, was a very, very different time to the Birmingham that we know today. Things got rough, people. Now, we were off the back of a lot of factories in the West Midlands closing. Now, these factories, people, were factories that a man's dad could go and work in. A man would finish school and go and work in there. A lot of people spent their entire career in this factory. So when this factory shut, it created a knock-on effect in some of the local Birmingham communities. A lot of people were out of jobs and a lot of people were desperate for money. Now, there was already a crime wave happening at the time. Street robbery was at an all-time high. Car theft was at an all-time high. B&E, which is the breaking and entering game, was at an all-time high. Even the West Midlands police, they couldn't control the city. Now, people used to rely on factory work. A lot of people were struggling to keep the lights on. That's how bad things got around this time. Now, there was one day that there was a conference. Now, this conference had came to Brum and they had put flyers all over the city and they were advertising a conference. Now, this conference aimed to teach you how to buy a property in just 4 hours. So it was teaching people in 4 hours how to buy and flip a property. Now, they were doing a special, and this special was £100. All you had to pay is £100 to go into this seminar and listen to this so-called property expert sell his course to you and allegedly teach you how to buy and flip a property.